going on, everybody? How you doing? We're back. We're live for Tech Stocks and Jobs. Hope you had a good Friday night. We didn't get a chance to talk about all the foolish stuff, though. It's okay. It's all right, though. It's all right. We'll get to some of that today. We will get to some of that today. All right. See who's in the chat. What's going on, Aunt D? Down to earth. I see what you said. And I would, like I said, I would stick to doing both. If you're gonna, especially if you can get it for free. Especially if you can get it for free. That's what my thought process is. That's what I've seen. That's what I'm sticking to. Let me see. How can I delete these comment? I need to delete that comment. I need to delete that comment. What's going on, Jerry? What's going on, Sadie? T, what's going on? All right, so today it's gonna be a rough day. It's gonna hurt some feelings, ruffle some feathers, clog some arteries, cause some people to fall off a cliff. You know, my usual. My usual. We got to put out some shorts. The person that's supposed to be handling the shorts is not on the short game. I'm not gonna say who they are. Not gonna put the person who co-produces the show out there. I'm not gonna put that person out there. I ain't gonna do it. Stephanie Baker, thanks for watching the show. Thanks for watching the show. A little piggyback off of last night's show and this show. Well, the little piggyback off of last night's show and the show from last week, I should say. Yeah, it's just gonna be rough. It's okay though. We're gonna get through it. You're gonna live another day. I promise. I can only promise on my end. Now, what happens after that? Well. What's going on, Notary World? How you doing? All right. So, where do I want to start? Do I want to start with mindset, or do I want to start with today's topics? Mindset, which is going to be a mad rant, or today's topics? Hmm. Hmm. Let's go with mad rant. Let's go with mad rant. All right. Let me get my rant stuff up. What's going on, Professor Black Ops? What's going on? So last night we were talking and we were talking about D crack is not a good thing for you. You should get off of it. Don't do it, D. Get off the crack, D. It's okay. Last night we talked about basically achieving goals, what it takes. Right? It's not just all grit, right? But for some of you, it will be all grit. And I'm gonna tell you why. For some of you, you'll get in the room and be deaf mutes. And I think I need to do, excuse me, an episode on advocating for yourself. Advocating for yourself. Um, because sometimes you enter rooms and there's nobody in there that is gonna look like you. You gotta show up and show out and advocate for yourself. And then there's sometimes people that you think gonna advocate for you, as D like to call them, they turn out to be double agents. Yeah, exactly. What is going on with D, right? Like again, D needs help. We're gonna have to time D out. I'm gonna have to start dropping wrenches in here. We're gonna have to time her out. So the other part of last night's show, because I still ain't listened to the Killer Mike thing all the way through. I just saw what he was talking about. Maybe we should do that. Let's do that. Let's see. Mm, 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 mm. Uh, let's see. Killer Mike child support and trades. It's in a video. And he was just talking about it. And it was, I don't know who he was addressing. Let me go on YouTube and see if I can find it. If I don't find it, it's not a big deal. It'll just be another rant for another day. Yeah, I don't see it. It ain't the first thing that pop up. But let's go. All right. So advocating for yourself, being in rooms, having people speak about you when you're not in the room. That's another thing. Yeah, double agents are deadly. But let's go. All right. So last week, um, this was the headline we talked about. It would take Black Americans 320 years to catch up to white neighbors. Now, that's nice. Dove off into the topic a little bit, went down the route, right? What I did talk about last week, and well, I'm not gonna say I didn't talk about it last week because I talk about it all the time. We gotta talk about mindset and the how. All right. But not only the how, the why. Why are you doing this? What is the end result? What's your goal? Right? You get it, you go get a trade to do what? What's the end goal that you're looking to do? Where are you trying to be at? What are you trying to buy? What are you trying to have? Are you trying to have a house? Are you trying to have what is it that you're looking to get out of this? What's your end game? Right? Not only what is your end game for you, because this is another thing that I often see all the time across social media. People are like, oh my goodness, you're selfish, or that person is selfish. Newsflash, you need to be. I don't know why people think that you're going to get somewhere without being selfish. Let's explain. You're going to have to be selfish with your time because you need time to study. You're going to have to be selfish with your money because you need to save it. You need to protect your assets. You need to be selfish with who you hang around and have energy that you transfer back and forth with. Yeah, you're going to have to be selfish. Yeah, it may mean you may not go to the club. You may not make that trip. You may not go to the ski trip. You may not make the cruise. You may not make it to Italy. You may not make it to Dubai. You might not even make it to the family reunion. You might not. But people have taken this thing about being selfish as if it's a crime. It's like Sade. Is it a crime? Mm, like it's not a crime. I don't know how you think you sitting on the phone with somebody for 4, 5 hours is gonna get you to where you need to be, unless you all are talking through something, working something out, or what have you. But it has to be some type of output from that. Whatever that output is for you that makes you happy, that's fine. But again, you're gonna have to be selfish with your time. You're gonna have to be selfish with your efforts into getting to where you want to be. Now, within this space, within this space of selfishness, you also need to learn how to delegate. If you know that it's gonna take you, listen, if you know going to the grocery store and going to Target, Publix, Kroger, Walmart, Sam's, BJ's, whatever is something that's gonna take some time for you, and it's gonna take you 3 or 4 hours, but in them 3 or 4 hours you could have been doing something else, you may have to delegate. Or you may have to learn to say, well, instead of me going every week, let me buy stuff for a whole month. So you don't go but once a month. Thank you, for Professor Black Ops, for dropping gems. I try to, and we appreciate the like. Y'all don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. So when people say that you selfish, be like, yes, I am. I am the selfish. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be selfish. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm not saying you the only person that you gotta rely on, but I'm saying you the only person that you gotta rely on. I am saying that, right? Because sometimes, I think you all have seen it. How many people have let you down? How many people have let you down? Sometimes it's only you gotta depend on. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Right? So we're in this state. We got we got the Asians crossing the border, right? We said 320 years for Black Americans to catch up, right? And where is my other video at? So I was looking at this video. Asian Americans are overachievers. This is why. But what I got out of like the first, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes of the video was they just study. But here's the thing, and I think this needs to happen more often with us, is we got to have more study groups. You all like to study by yourselves. We need to have more study groups where we all study together. The thing about having study groups is you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. You can't be like, well, on Monday I'm studying, Tuesday I'm studying, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you don't study. You can't do that. That's not how it works. That's how you lose momentum. That's how you get distracted. That's how you end up just falling off completely. Right? So, did you know? This is still on the mindset thing. And we're gonna get into some numbers. Do you know the 7 levels of financial freedom? I'm gonna blow this up and we're gonna look at the chart right here. 7 levels of financial freedom. How can I get you off my screen? There we go, right there. All right. First level is clarity. I always say, what is your end result? Where are you going? Who you surround yourself with? What does that look like? Right? You figure out where you want to go financially, how you gonna get there, and so forth. Now let's bring my favorite diagram over. Still a work in progress. Still a work in progress. It's my favorite diagram. Put it right next to each other. Your foundation. You're gonna have to learn how to build out your foundation, right? You got to calculate how much money you ever made. How much money have y'all ever made? Do you know? Your entire life. Do you know? You can go straight over to Social Security and find that out. It tell you exactly. You'll have to add it up, but it tell you exactly how much you ever made in your entire life. Now we're talking about not just goals. We're not talking about just that. We're talking about goals. We're talking about mindset. We're talking about um, finances. We're talking about the people you hang out with, the people that you surround yourself with. We're talking about all of that. Yep, it's a lucid. It's not a lucid chart. It's one I made. It's a lucid chart I made. This is a lucid chart I made. All right. Calculate how much money you ever made. Next one, you all need to have term life insurance. You need to have something to protect. Like if something happened to you, your family don't have to do a GoFundMe, no fish fry. Y'all ain't got they ain't gotta do a call. They ain't gotta do a call at the church. None of that. Now, on the payoff your high interest debt, there's two ways you could do this. You could do the avalanche or you could do the snowball. Most people prefer the snowball. I've gone over this. I'm not going to get into it this episode, but I've gone over this several times. Snowball, avalanche. How are you going to do it? All right. Set up your HSA. Your HSA and your 401k. You need to be maxing those out at your job. 23,000 this year, it comes out to like 1915, 1916 a month. Your HSA is 4,100. When it comes out to what, 3 something a month? Let's get out a calculator. Let's not guess. Why? Because this helps bring down your taxable income. We're trying to bring down taxable income here. All right. So 23,000 divided by 12. 1916, 1917 a month, if you want to round it up. 4,100 for your HSA. Divide that by 12. 341 or 342 if you want to look at it, right? So let's do 342 plus 1917. That comes out to 2,300 roughly a month, right? 2,259. I just round up and be nice to say 2,300 a month. You kept bringing down your taxable income, right? So you don't get, especially if you're no kids, you don't have no house, you don't have no husband, you don't have no wife, you don't have nobody depending on you. You're gonna have to figure out what that looks like. Let's talk about it. You want to talk about it? Let's go. All right. When you start getting into really around 130, 140, 150, 200, 250, They hit you with the taxes and they like, sir or ma'am, sir, ma'am, you owe Uncle Sam $10,000. And you like, blasphemy. How dare you? Why do I owe so much? I've been working. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. What? You don't have no donations. You don't have no donations. You ain't donated nothing. You you ain't contributed to your 401k or maxed out that contribution. You have maxed out your HSA. You don't own no property. You don't own no real estate. You're not in a brokerage account because you can't do tax loss harvesting because you're not in a brokerage account. You haven't contributed there. Law took some wins, took some losses. You don't have none of that. So you owe Uncle Sam $10,000. Now you like, dang, I got to set Uncle Sam up on a payment plan, or I pay him off $10,000. What you gonna do, right? So over here, this is to help you out. Now, another thing that could probably help you out right here, if you're feeling froggy, I would say go take a tax liens course. This is if you got the money now. This is if you got the money and go buy you some land. If you're not gonna buy a house, buy you some land. Buy something that's gonna help you out. Or you get a 1099 and that gets into all these other things. But we'll talk about it. All right. Another one. Everyone tells you all to set up your emergency fund for 6 months. Blasphemy. You need to be working towards setting up your emergency fund for a year. You already seen the layoffs. You've already seen it takes time sometimes to get a job. 6 months is not going to be enough. You need to at least do it for a year. And if you're going to have your money sitting somewhere, put it in a high yield savings account. That's why I started talking about it last night. Like, what does that look like? This right here is what I consider your foundation. This is what I consider your foundation. Calculate how much money you have already made. Why? Because if you know that you've made $5 million your entire life, ask yourself, what is my plan going to be where I can make another 5 million, possibly more, in less time? Because remember, when you first started out, you started out with not the same set of skills and the mindset that you had before. But now you know a little bit more. You've grown a little. You've been some places. You had some failures. You had some success. You had some ups and you had some downs. So you know some things that you don't have to do. You know some cheat codes. So how can you take what you know to get there quicker? That's why I tell you your skill sets are going to get you in rooms that you've never been in before. Understanding your customer, understanding leadership, understanding how to talk, understand people's body language, all those things matter. Now you got to get in. Now you in a room with some other folks. Now you got to figure out, is this the right room? Do I want to stay here? How long do I want to stay here? Do y'all think they hear me? I think I'm talking to myself. I don't think it's live. I think I'm talking to myself, D. Oh, mm, let's stop talking. I just see people on the line. Hmm. But when you are in these rooms, and you're gonna be in these rooms, people are gonna question how you got there, and who you are. Arasha HP, I appreciate you for your tech ties. Tim, I want to thank you. Um, Tim, you spoke on the episode with Erica Williams on Tech Tuesday in 2022. You talked about tech opportunities and mentioned Salesforce. I just earned my admin cert last week. Thank you for all the value for between you and D. I appreciate you. You pick up one, put them down, T. I got you. And congratulations. What's your next step, though? Make your what's your next step? How are you preparing for interviews? What your resume is gonna look like? How are you delivering the value that you put in and getting out of it so it shows up in the interview? That's key, right? If you know that you made that 5 million and it took you 15, 20, 30 years or whatever the case may be, or 2 years, how can you double that money? How can you double that? Mindset, right? Mindset. Now, keep in mind, this is what I consider, and I'm making another chart to show the pathway with this diagram and your tech skills and how they all line up and you level up. All right. So here, this is what I consider my base 200. I got to my base. I'm 200. I've, you know, I've been working in the industry maybe 3 or 4 years. In those 3 or 4 years, I could have calculated my money, calculate how much I made. I could have me a term life insurance. I could start working off paying my high interest loan. I'm working with a company that has an HSA and a 401k. I'm maxing those out, or I'm working towards maxing those out because maybe that first year I can't max them out. Maybe that first year I got to work on paying off my debt. And then maybe the following year I max out my 401k. Or maybe you just disciplined enough where you say, I'm still gonna max out my 401k and my HSA, but at the same token, I'm still work on paying off my high interest debt. Now, you don't have to just have one job to do this. You can work on the side. You can go and be a tutor. You could, whatever the case may be. You could do other things on the side so you can get there a little quicker, right? Set up your emergency fund. Dave Ramsey says 1,000. I'm saying calculate how much you spend every month. Put it aside. Start off slow. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, and then your high yield savings account. Just start throwing some money in there. Just $50, $100. Just put something over there. Put something on it. Put something on it. Now let's go back. 7 steps to 7 levels of wealth. Clarity. You figure out where you are financially, and where do you want to go. Foundational. Foundational, right? On my chart, this would be foundational. We got some clarity. We picked out where we want to be at. We picked out a job. We picked out a career path. We know what this is going to look like for the next 10 to 20 years. I know that I in the next 10 years, I know I can earn a steady 2 to 300,000. I know I can do that, right? So I could I could kind of project where I'm going. Is it slow money? Absolutely. I'm just talking about a slow way to be your W-2 millionaire. That's all I'm talking about. Now, if I want to, and when I say a W-2 millionaire, I mean a W-2 multimillionaire. Slow money, right? Self-sufficiency. You moved out of your mom and dad's house and can cover your own expenses. Some of you may need to go back home. Some of you may need to go back home. And guess what? It's okay. Don't let nobody shame you because you went back home to reset. You went back home, you're going to catch a little reset. Once you catch a little reset, then you come back out. Some of you need to stay at home. Some of you need to stay at home. Get your finances in order. Build your foundation. Then move out. It's okay. Nah, these slides aren't in the group. Breathing room. You're saving money and no longer living paycheck to paycheck. You're saving money. Look, I'm telling you to do this as your first level. You can switch out a 200K for 50K for 100K, whatever the case may be. But I'm trying to get you here. I want you to be already here. Calculate how much money you ever made. Term life insurance. Get it set up so you ain't nobody got to worry about it. It's good. It's better to do it when you're younger. It's better to do it when you're younger. Go ahead and set yourself up. Pay off your high interest debt. Set up your HSA. Invest in your 401k. One thing that I left out in here, it's on here. Invest in yourself. Going back to selfish. Invest in yourself. Because investing in yourself could be taking a class. It could be getting your health together. It could be watching what you eat. It could be finding classes that align or programs that align with what your career path is going to look like. Finding classes that align with your career path and what it's going to look like. For example, say you start off and you do the Security Plus. You say you want to be in cyber, but you know, and I know if you've been following, that Security Plus is just a knock on the door. It just said, "Hey, I'm outside." They were like, "Ain't nobody. We can't let you in," because they're like, "I don't have nothing to pair that up with." Okay, you need to learn an operating system. You can do Windows. You can do Linux. So once you start doing putting an operating system together, I'm telling you now, Linux and Windows, Security Plus, Ansible. Those that are in cyber, learn how to automate security configurations. Learn how to automate things. Download some Kali Linux and learn how to sniff networks. Learn Wireshark. That's your RAM. You want to get entryway? That's your RAM. Everybody want to start off with pen testing. That's cool. That's fine. But I'm just trying to get you fundamentals. Go work at a hosting company. Go work at a HostGator. Go work at a Digital Ocean. Go work at a Rackspace or any of the other ones out there. Why? Because those companies have everything. They got networking, they got security, they got cloud, they got customers, the internal, external, they got ticketing systems, they got sprints, they got everything. You can work at a rack space for 10, 15 years and just switch off on projects or what have you. You can start there. You could work at a rack space for 10 years. I started at rack. I got to start at rack space as working at rack space, right? I worked at rack space. I worked in managed backup, doing cloud stuff, right? Again, stop thinking that you got to hit the home run. I'm telling you, look, here's how you can do it steadily over time. But if you want to hit the home run, I got you too. If you want to hit the home run, I got you too. Right? So, with that being said, this foundation really lines up with what they got here with clarity, self sufficiency, and breathing room. So, You're saving some money. You're no living paycheck to paycheck. Listen, I'm including maxing out your 401k and your HSA, your term, and all that. This step one, two, and three is my what I consider my foundation. All right. The next one they have is stability. You have no bad debt and 6 months worth of expenses for emergencies. Let's go back to my pyramid. Let's go back to what I'm saying. I'm saying put in an emergency fund for a year. Listen, like I say, start out 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. S. Taylor, thank you for the super sticker. And thank you for listening. And thank you for responding. I have to know y'all listening, right? And the reason why I have to know that y'all are listening, because I gotta make sure you're listening, you're taking notes, and you interpreting stuff, like right? Because I don't come up here to tell you stuff just because I'm making it up. These are things that I have lived. These are things that I have put together. And I'm taking everything that I have put together and experienced and structuring it and delivering it back to you so you don't have to make the mistakes that I made. If I would have known to go back and look at how much money I had made over time years ago, I would have did that. But I didn't. I'm gonna tell you why that's important. Do you put this on the big screen? Why this is important is if you go back and you start looking at, well, in 1999, I was doing this. How much money did I make that year? Oh, yeah, that's reflective of that. In 2000, I did this. Well, what was I doing in? Why don't I have nothing in 2001? I ain't got no money. Ain't had nothing. Hmm. And you start calculating the parties. You start calculating the trips. And you start calculating the things. The I'ma take today off. I'ma do this. I'ma, I'ma, I'ma. You start calculating all that time, all that work, all those things, not just spending, but earning, right? Because then you start looking at, well, what job was I in? Why was I in that job? Then you start reflecting on your skill sets. That's why I tell y'all all the time, your skill sets. All right. Yep. But here's the other thing that it tells you. It shows you either you progressed forward or you've been stagnant. When you start looking at your income that you've earned over the year, if you don't see an increase forward and you don't see where you have earned, like maybe your first time in a job, one, year two, year three, but that fourth year, you should have had some skills them 3 years. You should have got something. You should have been on it. And now you should be ready for a big leap. And when I say a big leap, meaning you might have got a job at 70,000. You worked them 3 years. You moved up to 75, 80, 75, 82, somewhere in there, maybe 85, depending on the job and how they're flowing. All right. So after the third year, you at 82, 85, right? Now, when you think about it, you really ain't moved the needle a whole lot. You ain't. You really ain't. I'm gonna show you how much you move the needle. Let's say you started out at 70,000, and let's divide that by 12. That come out to 58.33 a month. Let's say you moved up to 82,000, and let's divide that by 12. You gained $1,000 a month. broken up in two paychecks, 500 a month, possibly, maybe. I'm not even taking out any taxes on this. But you ain't really moved the needle that much to the point where you're like, oh, now I can really see the forest for the trees. I'm really putting away $1,000 a month. I'm really putting away 2,000 a month, 5,000 a month. You're not really gonna see that. What you want to see on your next move, let's say you're at 70,000. You want to do a minimum, and I gotta add for inflation. I usually do 25, but I'm adding for inflation. I should probably do 40. You want to make the next move a $30,000 income increase, right? So if we do that 70,000 again divided by 12, that's 5833. But if you hit the 100,000, you divide that by 12, 833. I think you see a difference, right? You see a difference, right? 70,000 divided by 12. That's a $3,000 difference. You're going to see that. You're going to see that difference. You're going to see how you can do more saving, more investing. You're going to see that difference. Scroll up, see down to earth. You said I'm starting to see some of my friends buy houses for multi-generation living again. Yep. Facts, no fluff. Learn enough skills to create your entry door. Yep. What's going on, Danny Moore? How you doing? It's Taylor again. Thank you for the super sticker, and also Arisha SP. Thank you, Arshasha. Sorry, Arasha. I'm messing that up. Arasha. Antonio Watkins. What's going on? Danny, you said how do you? I guess you're supposed to say how do you know when you need to learn new skills? It's a good, and I guess when is a good time to put it on your resume. So listen, you need to learn skills from a beginner to intermediate level if you're learning multiple skills, and then you should pick a skill that you're going to master in. um let's talk about that real quick. T-shape. T-shape. The concept of T-shape or T-shaped persons is a metaphor used in job recruitment to describe the abilities of a person in the workforce, right? Reject. Thank you. T-shaped skills refer to a special type of qualities that make an employee valuable. A T-shaped level person, there is an L-shape individual possesses excellent skills, excellent knowledge of, and skills in specific areas, and is good at working with others in a collaborative way. There are different types of employees. There are I's. There are, I'm assuming that's supposed to be L's. L's, T's, and X's. The most desirable is a T shape, right? You got cross discipline knowledge, right? That may be your generalist part, but out of your skill sets, you got one that you got a domain of expertise in. So this we could chop this up into. We can have a line right here where we got Linux, we got server admin, we got Windows, we got cybersecurity. We go across all of that. And then maybe you good at testing and automation, and you come down here, and that's your main bread. That's your thing you get to. That's your thing you get to, right? Um so let's pull out some highlights. Um Along with T-shaped skills, there are S-shaped skills, meaning an individual is good at managerial candidate, and I guess it may be an L-shape, but I think it may be I, but I-shaped skills, meaning the individual is knowledgeable, skilled in a certain area. That's supposed to be L-shape, but hasn't mastered the ability to collaborate. Right? T-shape. You'll hear this all the time. You hear this all the time. Better communication and collaboration skills, things I talked about last night. Flexibility, hard and soft skills, right? I talked about this last night. About what people are looking for and where that leverage is at, right? Now, when you start looking at your growth here, right, to get to from that 70,000 to that 100,000, your skill sets, your teammates, your collaboration, how you deliver impact and outcome, you should be taking them 3 years and understanding that. What is the cut? What's the company's mission? What's the goal? What are my team? What are we aiming towards? What are we building? Who are we interacting with? How do I interact with my teammates internally and externally to other teams? Can I cross train with other teams? You should be perfecting and sharpening your skills. Along with perfecting and sharpening your skills, if we come back over here to the chart, you should be perfecting this foundation. This foundation is going to be, and again, there's 6 different type of strategies that you can use to get to wealth. I use the 3 bucket system. A lot of people don't like the bucket system. Well, I won't say that a lot of people. Some people don't like the bucket system. Some people do like the bucket system, right? And I have to pull up my stuff and I'll go over it with you. All right. Calculate how much money you ever made. I need to know where I've been. I need to know how much money I made. I know where I want to go. How many failures have I had, and how can I quickly take what I've already earned and double that money? Take what I've earned and double that money, right? Now, next up on this, and I'll pull this over. The term life insurance is just something good to have. You can get it through your job, you can get it outside your job. I prefer you to get it outside your job so that way when you leave, you still got it. Paying off your high interest debt. You know about that. Snowball versus avalanche. Snowball versus avalanche. I'm not going to get into it. Not this week. Right? Right here. Go to Investopedia. So the avalanche method, I hate when these pop up. The avalanche method involves making minimum payments on all debt and using any extra funds to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate. And then the snowball method involves making minimum payments on all debt and then paying off the smallest debts before moving on to the larger ones. Pick your poison. Pick your poison on that. Avalanche versus the snowball, right? Now, down here, you could use either one of those to pay those to figure that out. Here's another thing you can use to pay off your debt. I don't. I'm not a. I'm a fan and not a fan. Get your skill sets up so that you can get you a sign-on bonus. I prefer you not to take the sign-on bonus and pay off debt. I prefer you take the sign-on bonus and go put it in a high yield savings account or a brokerage account. Let it sit there for a year. Let it sit there for a year. Take the interest off. Use that to pay off debt. But guess what you just did? You killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I don't think you realize that. What you just did was you said, okay, I'm setting myself up to pay off my high interest, but I also started my emergency fund for a year. Use that as leverage to build your emergency fund out, but let your emergency fund collect some money over time from that sign-on bonus, right? And then take the interest off of the top, and then go put that to paying your bills. Let it sit there for another year. Let it do its thing. Men, or a little bit over men, take a little interest off, pay it down. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you got credit card debt and you're 30 APY, you you it's just it don't look good, then yeah, just take that money and pay it off. But now you gotta take that money that you unpaid that high interest credit card with, and now you gotta put that money into your emergency fund or your high yield savings account. You could do it multiple ways. I just think it's easier when you get a lump sum, like you get a $20,000 lump sum or 15,000 or $30,000 lump sum. Take it, just just like just throw it over there. Like don't even touch it and let it just generate some income on the back end for you. Yeah, you always gotta be a skill set up. All right. So back over here. Stability, right? You have no bad debt, 6 months worth of expenses for emergencies. All right. Step 5, flexibility. You have at least 2 years of expenses saved up. You could take a whole year off. If you go back and look at my pyramid, I'm telling you to go ahead and start that. Get started on that now. Why? I'm telling you that because you don't know if you like a company or don't like a company, and then you just want to say, okay, look, I'm going to go over here and go to this other company, or I'm going to take off 3 months and I'm going to study and I'm going to get back in the game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to create yourself some flexible time there. Received from insurance or medical payout. It depends on how it's received and the lump sum of your bills and so forth. For right now, if you want to throw it in a high yield savings account, you can. If you want to go throw it in a brokerage account, you can. If you know that you may be getting, and this is this is getting into the whole thing with trust. You may want to take your money and start looking at how you can have that money make you some money. Whether, and this is not financial advice, you may want to look at how that money can make you some money. Whether you want to put that money up for an emergency fund, or you need to pay off some debt, or but I like for my money to make me some money. I like when I get it, I'm like, I hurry up and move it. I'm like, I don't even leave it sitting there. As soon as it hit, I be like, you go over there. Um, but it's a multiple things that you could do. But I would sit down and come up with a plan, right? Because I wouldn't depends on, and it really depends on you. If you don't need the money, put the money up. Put it in. I'm not gonna tell you to put it into no IRA or 401k because you may need to be liquid with that money. You may need that money. So I would look at putting it into like a high yield savings account. You can look at something that's not gonna cause a taxable event. Where how is it being distributed to you? Do you can you roll it into maybe I don't know how much it is. Maybe you roll it into some type of index fund or annuity or something like that. I don't know. But I wouldn't I would look and see what kind of taxable event that's gonna cause because it may be a lump sum that may push you up to another tax bracket. So if it pushes you up to another tax bracket, you're gonna have to pay taxes on it, right? Because you're in another tax bracket, right? You got to pay taxes on that. So I would really contact a CPA on that and look at different tax structures that you could be in to protect that. That's just my initial thought without knowing any details. Without knowing any details. All right, next one. It says financial independence. You can live off the income your investments generate. But here's the thing. When you look at this, there's nothing on this chart that talks about your investing. All right. So here on my next level up, I'm saying to you here, invest into some CDs, some stocks, some REITs, some munis. You may want to get some, like I say, some life insurance out of work. You need to get a CPA, a CFP, or something. Just having just a consultation. I'm not telling you you got to have them around all year round. I think you all need to take financial classes. You all need to establish what that looks like for you. Create a Even if you just come up with a plan. And I had to bring up my plan. Attend Toastmasters. I'm trying to get you to learn how to speak in public, how to articulate your vision, your plan. Will, trust. Remember, if you got something that's in a will, it can still go to probate court and you still will have to pay your federal and state taxes. If it's in a trust, that does not happen. Trust over wills. Maxing out your 401k. Here I got you setting it up, but you can max out your 401k and your HSA here too. This includes that foundation down here, right? This is after year one, right? Setting up your non-traditional IRA. There's no financial barriers on that non-traditional IRA, because sometimes you may have some money that you may need to roll over. And you also got to start looking at what your income is like. When you in a Roth IRA, you at a certain income level. You can't even invest in it, right? You can't even invest in it. Now here I start talking about your three bucket strategy, attend the masterminds, your trust. You can do that down here. Your conferences, different strategies. And this is the three bucket strategy is one, but there are different strategies. Um, seeking alpha, different saving strategies. All right. I'm not gonna talk through all of them. I'm just gonna highlight them. Yep, you need to know your risk tolerance, but here they go. Um, Growth focused strategy, high income, sleep well at night, fixed income, and then their perfect portfolio strategy, right? But here's another one. I looked up different saving strategies. Let's look up retirement strategies. People got the 3% rule, the 5% rule. Here's the retirement income strategies, right? This is what I'm looking for. Do, 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 do. All right. There's the certainty strategy. There's the static strategy. There is the bucket strategy, the variable strategy, the dynamic strategy, and then the insuring strategy, right? Like when people just go get an annuity, they go take that money, go throw it into an annuity, and then let it pay income to them over time. You'll find this probably a lot with trust, the insurance and the trust. You'll probably find that a lot, right? All right. And our last one is abundant wealth. Money isn't a problem. You have more than you'll ever need, right? So this article talks about where most Americans really fall. Half of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck, right? And in this article, he talks about where most people fall at. Half of working Americans say they live paycheck to paycheck, according to 2022 Magnify Money survey, which puts them at level two sufficiency. So let's drop down to level two. Level two is you moved out of your mom's house, your mom's or dad's house, and you can cover your expenses. That's where most people fall at. You have not thought about this path here. You have not thought about your you probably contribute to your HSA, but you don't max it out. You probably contribute to your 401k, but you don't max it out. You probably don't even understand how your HSA works and how you can. Let me see. Let me look it up. Let me before I say something. Let me see. Right here. A 31-year-old millionaire who has 7 different types of investment accounts says that his HSA is by far his favorite and he's using it to build long-term wealth. How do you build out your HSA for long-term wealth? Right? Just another way, right? Until I give you my search term. Millionaire HSA. It's elusive, but it's not it's possible if you start early. Becoming an HSA millionaire, is it possible? IRAs, 401ks, TSPs. All right. The rules stand in sharp contrast to HSH, which allow annual contributions. It was at 36, it was at 38, so this is 2 years old. In addition, HSAs have less restrictive withdrawal rules. In other words, when you turn 70, if you're still contributing to your HSA, even though you have contributed to your HSA, you can take the money out without required minimum distributions and it doesn't have to go towards medical expenses, right? Um, it says that means that it's more difficult for funds in the HSA to experience the benefits of uninterrupted compound. Nonetheless, it's not impossible, even if you withdraw and spend a good portion of your HSA contributions. You can have your HSA in there. Then this is what they're just showing here. A length of time with your HSA and what you're investing in for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. In a bear case, in a bull case, it would be this. So a 8% return, a 10% return, a 12% return in 50 years. It's not impossible, right? But it's money that you can also live off of. Now, of course, coming out, it's gonna be taxed, right? It's gonna be taxed. There's no Roth HSA. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. HSAs aren't intended to be retirement accounts or long-term saving vehicles, and you should expect a regularly spend down on your account balance. In years when you incur substantial bills, you would even have to withdraw more than you contribute. That's completely normal, but it's not far fetched that you could be a millionaire in your HSA. It's not far fetched. It's just most people don't do that often. All right. So those are the income strategies. Over here at the very, very top, the reason why I always want y'all to be at the 200K mark minimum is so you can be an accredited investor. So you can invest into different funds. So you can invest into different funds. You can invest into D. Can you put that right there? So you can invest into different funds. You can be into uh, different maybe real estate ventures. You can, you can sit in different rooms. Again, accredited investor. An accredited investor is someone who earns 200,000 or more for the last 2 years, including the current year that they're in. You can take the Series 65, you can take the Series 7, I think the Series 92, and one other series, or you can have $1 million in assets in order to be an accredited investor, or you can sit with people who are in a fund and have done transactions, and you understand and know the risk in order to be an accredited investor, right? You said contribution to an HSA is based on your medical plan, correct? The contribution to your HSA could be how your company has your HSA, how they have the HSA set up. Let me explain. There are companies that will contribute on your behalf to your HSA. So they may do a match. So suppose I put in $100 a month, they're gonna put in $100 a month. If I put in 300 a month, they may put in 300 a month, right? They're gonna match your contributions. Remember, this year you're only putting in 4,100 into your HSA. So getting help from someone is even better. Now, there are other companies that don't do any contributions into your HSA. It's also dependent on what insurance policy or which insurance plans you pick from your company. If you're going to do it in your company, now you can get an HSA outside of that, though. You don't have to do it within your company. I mean, if you're a low cost medical plan, then you can't contribute. No, it depends on how, again, how that company has it set up. Like you got to pick, you get a chance to pick your insurance plans. So an insurance plan may have a flexible spending account. An insurance plan may not have a HSA or FSA, and then you have one that has an HSA. It depends on how they have their plan set up for you to contribute. Now, outside of your job, you can go and establish yourself with an HSA. You establish yourself and create your own HSA if you want to. Just remember, your HSA can play in the stock market. It can play the target date funds. It can do those things, right? It doesn't have to be tied to a company, right? All right. And the last but not least, on this pyramid, the goal, and I've shown you this, is to be at 2.5 million in your retirement minimum. And you paid off rental property, you paid off all these other things. And yes, retirement doesn't have to be at 60. You can retire at 50 and you could work, say, a job that's paying a minimum of 100. I wouldn't do anything less than 200 actually, like on as a side, and then keep building this up. That's how I would do it. Like I would get something on 150 to 200. And I'm saying that because I'm already going to be an accredited investor, but the 150 is going to help me just maintain my money, right? Maintain my money. Um, let me see if I can find this, and then we'll go. And you're welcome, Purple Charm. You're welcome. I'm looking for something. Hold on. It should be in downloads. All right, it's coming up. And I haven't updated this in a while. I need to go back and update it. All right, let me look. Okay. Yeah, this need to be updated, but it gives you an idea. But this was me with my 3 bucket strategy. It's not it need to be updated. All right. So this is a spreadsheet, following along with the three bucket strategy. Understanding you need to go calculate your own net worth as well too. Um, that's another thing you need to do. There's some network calculators out there where you can go calculate that. You should do that every year. Again, you need to be increasing. This is why I go back and say, go look at your Social Security and calculate and look at where you have where you what you have done over the years, right? TC, you said you made a few blunders and didn't quite know it, such as contributing to a Roth IRA for tax benefit, but I filed marriage separate and that isn't allowed. I didn't know that. Yep. And that's why you need to talk to a CPA. You all need to have at least some type of consultation with that as well. And I gotta set up our mastermind. But anyway, I won't get into it right now. So tax now, tax later, tax free. Three buckets. You know, your savings account, mutual funds, CDs, iBond, consulting for DevSecOps, Social Security at when you can see portfolio 9.3, right? But this is over time, right? IRAs, 401ks, those numbers are not the same. Annuities, Roth IRAs, whole life, variable insurance, cash value, all of that, right? So I'm showing this. You could change this out for wherever it is that you want this to be, like where you put in real estate, whatever the case may be. I'm just showing you like a plan. My goal is 10 million, right? My goal is 10 million. So, but you may be consulting for DevSecOps and that steady income may be at 100,000, right? That steady income may be at 100,000, right? And then you could have CDs at 100,000 or 5,000 or whatever, right? So that's something to think about. Now, the way when you make the most money for Social Security, it's gonna be age 70. That's when you're gonna make the most. Um, and I looked this up yesterday. So let me pull this down. I think I have it over there open, but I don't remember what tab it is. So let me go here. Let me go social. And then no. Okay, yeah, they got social on here. Let me look. Oh, here. Social. Only one result. Okay. So it's not on this one. I want to show you the social security calculator. Let me look. Let me see if this is the right one. Um, oh, okay. Yeah, I will have to have it open. I will have to have my social security thing open. Anyway, so let's say you was born 9/15, 75. Enter earnings in the current year. Let's say your earnings is 250, right? And it says if you enter zero, we'll assume you are retired. Enter the last year in which you had covered earnings and the amount of earnings. Let's see, 2023. And let's say that year, for shits and giggles, let's go with 225. Oh, we go with 220. Right. And it says if you decided upon retirement date, enter the month at Enter the month, number, and the year in which you plan to retire. Let's say, let's do 12. mm, let's do 2040. Let's see. Is that right? Let me make sure I'm right on that one. Let's see. Make sure they give you your max there. Hold on. You'll be 65. So let's get your max. 5 more years. All right, cool. All right. And let's see. Some select see your benefit estimates. Submit. All right. So you'll be at 48.93 for your estimate on your monthly return there. And they go and they walk you through what that would look like for disability and so forth, right? So 48.93 a month. All right, 48. I'm gonna just go with 4,900. 4,900 times 12. That gives you about $58,000 a year. 58,800 to be exact. Right. So 5,800. Would that be enough for you in retirement? Now, let's get back to our pyramid. We should have our properties paid off. We should not be having our car notes. We should have our maximum out. And now we gotta remember, as Taylor, there's some things we gotta remember. For our 401k, we've been pounding money away over there. Our HSA, our brokerage account, right? We even been putting money in our high yield savings account, right? We may even sell some property to do whatever. Now, the question is, could you, just could you just live off Social Security on a monthly basis, tight, tight budget, and then still get some extra money for your trips and so forth and so on? Basically, can you pay your bills on Social Security and then your fund money be coming from your 401k or whatever other tax strategy you got? Could it be? What is your goal for retirement? This is why I'm bringing up mindset. What is your goal for retirement? Is it $10,000 a month? Is it $20,000 a month? Is it $50,000 a month? Let's put it into some terms that you can understand. Let's say your savings goal is 10 million. Let's say your initial investment after a year is 100,000. You want to grow this over, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years. We'll go 30 years. You want a rate of return? I'll go 10. I'll go 10. I'll go 10. Let's say you should be contributing at 41.82 a month for 30 years. Let's say you don't have that big lofty goal. Let's say you're like, you know what? I don't need that. I'm cool with 5 million a year for 30 years. I mean 5 million for my retirement. That's 1649 a month. I'm trying to get you to max out your 401k and your HSA, right? So let's see, what was that? 23,000. was 1916, 1917 at 342. So 1917. Let me clear this out. So 1917 plus 342. 2259. So let's scroll back up here. They're saying you'll be at 1600 a month for 30 years, you'll be at 5 million. At 2259 a month over 30 years, what would you be at? Let's go. Let's go back to here. Let's say you got an initial of 100. Let's say you're doing 2259. Let's say you're doing that for 30 years. Let's say you're doing 10 on that. We'll do 2 and then calculate that annually. Calculate. You'll be at 6.2 million in 30 years. Is Taylor teachers make the is the actual group that one of the actual group that make the most millionaires? So 6.2 million, 30 years if you keep up at this pace. Initial investment of 100. I'm calculating that you got some 401ks out there, some money that's been given to you. You put it together, you start a new job. It may be 100,000. It could be easily be like 50,000. Let's go with 50,000. If it's at 50,000, it'll be at 5.3 million. Right? Mindset. Change the mindset. Change who you hang out with. What does all this mean to you? What's your end goal? How are you going to get there? All right. 7 steps, 7 levels of wealth. I take it and I pull it out. I pull these out. I think this is your foundation here. This is your solid foundation. I include the 6 months in my foundation. So I'm really trying to get you to be at step 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then after, like they say, after 2 years of you got 2 years of expenses saved up. I already have you at a year. You working at this may take some time, but you gonna get there on this one. All right. Drop a 1 in the chat if it made sense. Let me check my likes. Make sure we got some likes. Huh? Only out by 10. What's going on, Sim? But we can still get them up. All right. I hope that made sense to y'all. Again, we can go back on this one right here because I play around with these numbers. Let's say your current year you earn 2 million. I just play with the numbers. And let's say in 2023 you earn 1.5. Now let's calculate. Your earnings is still, and this is what I want to show. You're still at 488.99. Like whatever there's a max, right? Say we for your benefit calculation, we limit your earnings to $168,000 taxable maximum for 2024. So it don't matter. Like over that, they're not gonna go past the taxable amount of 168. So no matter what you earn, I think your max is going to be around 480, 899 or 5,000. Because I was asking my mom, there was this thing I saw where this guy was earning 11,000 a month in Social Security. I'm like, can you earn 11,000 a month in Social Security? Now, what I didn't take into consideration, he may be getting Social Security from a deceased spouse or someone else, but I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure how that works. I had to ask my mom on that. Can if you're married, do you could still collect your Social Security and the spouse's Social Security as well? I had to ask. Yeah, the thing said 11K. Cause I was trying to figure that out. I'm like, how you getting 11K? That's when I started playing with the calculator. All right, we'll go left to right. All right, we talked about the Black Americans. We know what that is. We seen that. We know it's gonna take 320 years to catch up, but that don't mean you don't stop trying. That don't mean you don't stop trying to make that money. We talked about last week where y'all live at in these mega cities, and that's not helping you at all. We talked about what the mega cities are. What we didn't talk about is in those mega cities is how much education is in those mega cities. But nevertheless, what I think everybody's gonna have is um this 53 million to be handed out um in major US cities in controversial guaranteed income pilot, right? A new basic income program is set to give away tens of millions of dollars in America's most densely populated cities. Those are going to be your mega cities. New York has allocated 53 million to give to migrants, excuse me, who are being put up in hotels. More than 150 people, 50,000 people seeking asylum have arrived in the city from the southern border. And I bet you Detroit, New York, Cali, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas. Y'all about to get it. Denver already got it. It's a little too cold out there yet. You only you ain't sleep Chicago, yeah. Chicago got it too. But sleeping on them streets, yeah, you ready to go. All right, listen. The new pilot program will hand out prepaid credit cards to 500 migrant families. Each recipient gets $350 a month to spend on food and baby supplies, which is more money than low-income residents are given through the state supplemental nutrition assistance program SNAP. You think that ain't gonna cause some uprising? You think somebody ain't gonna be getting knocked upside the head with some bottles? The Mayor Adams administration is asking the state for 4.6 billion to cover the cost of the crisis, saying that the program is cheaper than the food delivery service that's been running since the emergency began. All the migrant families in the program will have to sign an affidavit stating they will only use the cards for the intended purposes. Yeah, right. I signed it, but that don't mean that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just trying to tell you where it's at. Next up, I'm just gonna go down my list. All this is gonna be out of order. I got more, but I'm trying to keep it to 2 hours. But I'm gonna go down my. I'm just gonna start clicking on my links, and they're gonna just be out of order. So you just gotta roll with it. We're gonna be switching gears. You gotta roll with it. All right. Why did Datadog, Snowflake, and other cloud stocks rallied on Friday? Right. I told you. See, y'all was like, oh no, Tamika, it's been up. I'm like, I know it's been up, but the stock market hit an all-time high since 1972. Did y'all pay attention to it? Like, why? What's the why? What's driving it? What's going on? All right. Key points out of this is saying slow adoption, increased optimize have weighed on cloud stocks over the past couple of years. Cloudflare reported better than expected financial results and provided robust guidance. This added to the growing body of evidence that the cloud growth slump may be nearing its end. All right, so Datadog was up, Snowflake was up, MongoDB was up. Anything dealing with data and databases is going to keep rolling. We produce and are going to produce. How much data do you think we produce on a daily basis? How much data do we produce daily? This from 2018. We produce 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are created every day. Quintillion. Quintillion. Was 90% of the world's data created in the last 2 years. According to Forbes, 90% of the world's data was generated in the last 2 years. 2.5 quintillion data was created each day. Mm-mm-mm. Zettabytes. Yottabyte. So if it's a gigabyte, that's 1,600 books. If it's a terabyte, that's 1.6 million books. If it's a petabyte, that's 160 million books. If it's an exabyte, it's 1.6. What's that? 1 million billion. Only 10,000 miles short of reaching the moon. And 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are created daily, produced by everything from photos uploaded, social media websites, to weather balloons, to the Curiosity rover currently exploring Mars. And they talk about the big data at big companies. And then other ones being where UPS and so forth. I give y'all this link. I think you would like this. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, HP. Here, let me give you this link. I agree. Beggars can't be choosy. All right. Check of all the usual sources, regulatory filings, earnings, so forth. So turned up nothing in a specific way in a company specific news to explain the moves. Rather, it was robust result over the rival provider that helped propel them to hire. A rebound in cloud spending. People are starting to get a little bit more efficient with their cloud spending, right? But data is driving that. Next, Florida is the number one state to retire in 2024. Number two is nearly 2,000 miles away. Where should you retire? What does that look like? Affordability, quality of life, and health care. Since retirees may be living on a fixed income, the affordability of potential retirement destination can be important to consider. Popular cities like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, metros ranks among Wallet Hub's top 10 places hit the hardest by inflation. Let's go down here. Florida, Colorado, Virginia, Delaware, Wyoming, Idaho, New Hampshire, Minnesota. Number six, Idaho, New Hampshire, Minnesota, Montana. Number nine in Pennsylvania. Those are your top 10. I agree with one and two. I'm not sure where in Virginia they're talking. Not northern. Delaware. We saw Delaware was the number one place where women were buying homes. Single women were buying homes. Need to check out Delaware. What's going on over there? Wyoming. I probably won't move there. Nah. Idaho. Boise. New Hampshire. And this is New Hampshire spelled wrong? Is it hemp or hemp? New Hampshire. Minnesota, Montana, and Pennsylvania. Minnesota, I'll move there. It's cold, but I'll move there. Twin Cities, big tech scene. Montana, I don't know. That's D's area. Right? Next up, the Air Force is seeking retirees to come back out of retirement. Get back. We need you. The game needs you. That's why I thought it was Hampshire. The Air Force seeks retirees to come back to active duty. Service offers up to 4 years of active duty for returning pilots, security forces, and others. Have you seen that they're trying to get people to stay in the service and re-enlisting them at 600,000? The $600,000 bonus. I know it's billionaires out in Wyoming. I just don't want to live out there. I visit though. 600,000 in the sign-on bonus, re-enlistment bonus, I should say. Same article. Aiming to address the U.S. military pilot shortages, the Air Force recently said it will offer to $600,000 in bonuses over the next 12 years. The bonus range from 15,000 to 50,000 per year for contracts ranging from 3 to 12 years of additional services. You looking for what your son gonna do? You want to know what it's gonna look like? Go be a pilot. We got a shortage of pilots. Air Force, I like it. You can even become a Space Force guardian. Yeah, right. Miss Phoenix, you say my state Ohio didn't rank. Oh well. We appreciate you for the tech ties, Miss Phoenix. We appreciate you. It was probably written by AI. I don't know. Yeah, Cicely, I would go Air Force and get into the cyber program. If you want to. I talked about it, right? Um They all have it. Everybody can get into it, but you just get better. I think you just get treated better in the Air Force. Plus, everybody follows the Air Force anyway. Stepping into the realm of security, it is effort requires you to establish yourself an airman first. If you're not enlisted, the most you can do is express your interest to a recruiter. From there, they can guide you on your path. Obtain a U.S. Air Force cybersecurity job. I know we had one young lady that was doing it. That's what she did. She was enlisted, but she was in the cybersecurity program. Here's what you can do. Got to get you a clearance. That gets you your clearance. That gets you your basic training. That gets you on your career path. You come out. You stay in the tech field. Just stay in the government space. Do contracting, whatever. You're gonna earn a minimum of 100,000. You're gonna be like that for the next 10 years at a minimum. I'm gonna go ahead and give you 200 for the next 10 years. 2 million. You max out at 2 million plus if you stay and do your retirement or whatnot, 20 years, 25, whatever. Boom. Get you another check. All right. Talked about that. Talked about that. Air Force looking for folks to return because they don't have the pilots. They're like, look, we need you back, right? Plus the enlistment. Why is it difficult to hire and retain quality tech talent? The employment landscape for the tech industry has let's see. Let me switch that out here. There we go. The employment landscape for the tech industry has experienced some changes over the last few years, and many companies have included layoffs as a. Oh man, now I can't see it. Thank you. Many tech. Oh wow, I gotta back up from where I'm at now. Have included layoffs as a part of their corporate strategies in the wake of the pandemic, according to Crunchbase. Right, more than 93,000 jobs were cut from private and public tech companies in the U.S. at a time. During massive layoffs in the tech industry, other firms sought to capitalize on the influx of top talent into the labor market. Hold on. All right. Let me get my mouse over there. All right. Attracting, employing, and retaining competent people looking for new possibilities might appear simple. However, this is not the case. Despite the massive number of tech industry layoffs, the paradox is that there's still a high demand and fierce competition between employers to attract top talent. The current state of the tech industry: Amazon laid off 3% of its workforce, of roughly 10,000 jobs. During a successive round of job cuts in 2023, the layoffs included tech divisions such as Amazon Robotics, Amazon Web Services, not Amazon Web Services for government, devices, and Prime Air. In the most pandemic period, many companies are working on recalibrating their operations, and workforce layoffs are part of the process. Another tech giant laid off 5%, which equated to 10,000 jobs. The company cited the reason for massive downsizing was to embrace was to brace for upcoming period of slower revenue growth. These are merely two layoffs of several over the past 5 years. Factors contributing to the difficulty. Hiring and retaining quality tech talent has become increasingly challenged due to the rapidly evolving technology and changing employment expectations. Three major factors contributing to the difficulty are fierce competition, the need for growth and development opportunity, skills gap. Technology is experiencing a rapid evolution that has created a significant skills gap. As technology evolves, the skills that tech professionals need also change. This shift causes a mismatch between between the skills job prospect possesses and the skills employer needs. That's why I tell you follow the money. If you follow the money, you'll understand the skills that are needed, and you can go and get the skills based upon that need. And probably in there when you are while you're at another job, right? So it says strategies to attract and keep quality tech talent, exploring non-traditional sources, focus on transparent communication and company culture, emphasizing work-life balance, and closing thoughts. For me, emphasizing work-life balance means nothing. Pay me. Emphasize work check balance. I take off when I need to. Work check balance. Want my check. Cut the check. Five secrets of a 401k millionaire. I think you already know what that is. I don't need to explain that to you, but I will. Millionaires live on less than they make. They start early. They take the free money. If they matching, you should take the free money. They have discipline. That's why I got you going right here. Starting you here. This is setting your discipline. That's what we're doing. If I accept some risk, yeah, you got to accept some risk, right? Next up, I don't want to talk about IBM stock, but here we go. IBM is nearing its highest since 2014. Its AI rally is splitting Wall Street. It came out on the 19th. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to go over here. 41-year-old CEO and mom. I'm the first millionaire in my family. Three things I'm still extremely frugal about. Rachel Rogers is the founder and the CEO of Hello 7 and the author of We Should All Be Millionaires. You probably seen her on Anthony O'Neill and on YouTube as well. We Should All Be Millionaires. My time. To me, frugality is about being intentional, starting with how I spend my time. For years, I constantly gave it away for free. Then one day I looked at my calendar and wondered who put all these pointless meetings on here. Oh, right, me. Now I say no to 99% of the requests I get. My family vacations and my casual clothes. When I'm in a business setting, I want to look and feel like $1 million and will shop accordingly. However, if I'm at home without any meeting, speaking engagements, or media appearances, you'll find me in an inexpensive, well-worn jeans and t-shirts. Now, if you don't know about her, if you click right here and let's hit up YouTube real quick. And let's go here. Hello 7. That's her website. But you can see she been on EYL. I think she was on Anthony O'Neill as well too. So you can see how she's branded. She's been on it was a year ago on the Breakfast Club. Inside the vault with Ash Cash. I hope he wasn't yelling at her. Right. So you can go check those things out. Check her out. All right, we got that. All right, what was this one? Oh, is this it? Oh yeah. All right. So the Air Force awards $750 million contract to two companies for IT support services. Type in the chat if you understand what is about to happen. Give me a keyword. You hear Air Force awards $750 million contract to two companies for IT support services. What should be your next step? I'll wait. Yeah, Heather, Ash does so much yelling. What are the companies? What's the next name? What's the why? Are they hiring? Correct. Follow the money. Let's go. All right. The Air Force, 7.5 million, right? TK Global Solutions in Henderson, Virginia, and HPI Solutions in Omaha, Nebraska were awarded $750 million hybrid firm fixed costs and time and materials, multiple award, IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, IDIQ contract for communication, enterprise information technology support services. This contract provides for information technology services, including network hardware support, physical and virtual servers, workstation deployment, laptop and peripheral support, facility access control, intrusion detection, IT support, storage and backup system support. Oh, good God. You know what? They said something about Linux. Look at it, it came up. Linux, Solaris, and Red Hat system support, Red Hat operating system support, IT infrastructure installation and maintenance, storage and backup administration support, IT assessment management, software vulnerability and testing support. The work will be performed in Springfield, National Guard, Ohio, and Anacostia, Bowling in Washington, D.C., and Wright Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, and is expected to be completed by February 28th of 2034. We are in 2024. The work is expected to be done in 2034. What that tell you? The contract, they got 10 years for work. What that tell you? I need to make sure I got skills for them to be on that for 10 years. Huh? What skills do I need? Let me read it again. What they say, Tameika? Storage, backup, Linux, Solaris, Red Hat system support, Red Hat operating system. I don't know. Physical servers, hardware. I hear a little. I hear help desk support. I hear I hear support for everything. I don't know. I just hear infrastructure. Well, where should I be looking at jobs at, Tameika? I don't know. Let me look at it again. They said the work is going to be performed in Springfield, Air National Guard. It's in Ohio. Can I find? Let me go look it up. Let me see. Joint Base Anacostia Bowling Green in DC, the DMV area. Another one, Wright Patterson Air Force Base. It's expected to be completed in by February 28th of 2024. The contract was competitive. A competitive acquisition, and 16 offers were received. No funds are being obligated at the time of award. The Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, Wright Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, is the contracting activity. Black River Systems, a company, I guess, incorporated, Utica, New York, has been awarded 12 million cost plus fixed fee completion engineering change proposal and modification. They're working with Signet. They're working with software. Huh. What else are they working with? 5G. Open architecture. Huh. Okay. Look like they're gonna need somebody on some hardware, somebody that understand how to connect up to satellites, get some signals. That's what I'm seeing. Tested hardware architectures have the ability to be integrated on the current platform, but also applicable to future platform development. Platform engineering. Interesting. The modification brings the total cumulative face value of the contract to 23 million. Hmm. The work is expected to be completed in 2026. Okay, couple of years on that. I'm just pointing out the contracts. The where follow the money. Who got it and how long they got it for? Who got it and how long they got it for? GDIT, 82 million. Scottsdale, Arizona. What are they looking for? So there's some radio stuff, some engineering support, some and engineering services to support their continued fielding and maintenance plans. What does that mean? They already established, so they need somebody to come on and maintain what they got. Okay, that's a support role. That's a butts and seat role, right? The current award value provides for engineering services and sustainment. The production pricing for the DMR system and ancillary hardware is currently in negotiations and will be incorporated at a later date. Right? I can keep going on this link here. I'm just talking about follow the money. South Carolina, 6.1 million. IDIQ. Ordering period and end date is February 6, 2027. Using customers are Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, and so forth. Type of appropriation is fiscal 2024 through 2027. All right, got money for 3 years. THA. I'm gonna keep going. But these links alone, Army, right? Follow the money. And this is straight on clearance jobs. Straight on clearance jobs. I probably just gave you 20 jobs right there, if not more. I'm just being nice. The small business they are partnering with, or who they already partner with, are probably people that's probably are their friends and working on the contracts. So close that. We did that. We did that. I think we're done. I think, hold on, let me double verify. Yeah, rich families use trust that lasts as long as 1,000 years to save on taxes and benefit future heirs. Put it in the trust. The average American inherits about $1,500 from their grandparents, per the analysis from Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. The uber rich, on the other hand, can pass on millions to grandchildren. And thanks to loosening the limits on the generation skipping trust, I talked about that a while ago, the generation skipping trust and the tax cuts made during the Trump administration, the wealthy are also skipping on paying healthy wealth transfer taxes by leaving their riches to their distant heirs. Some of America's wealthiest families, such as the Pritzkers, who own the Hyatt hotels, the Wrigleys of the titular chewing gum fortune, and the Bezos family, use generation skipping trust to preserve their wealth. Former Bridgewater CEO Dave McCormick, who is running for Senate, has as much as 2.25 million stashed in this type of trust, according to his financial disclosure of the 123 million in assets. The so-called dynasty trusts allow affluent taxpayers to provide for many as 40 generations later and only subject to tax once. I don't think they hurt me, D. The so-called dynasty trusts allow affluent taxpayers to provide for as many as 40 generations and only be subject to tax once. The dynasty trusts have grown in popularity as the generation skipping transfer tax exemption has skyrocketed. According to Sandy Christopher, partner of Withers Bergman, better known as GST, um, the tax the tax is intended to keep families from avoiding estate tax by gifting to grandchildren and other relatives at least two generations younger than their children. In 1986, the exemption was 1 million. Thanks to the tax cuts made in 2017, it's now equivalent to the federal estate and gift tax exemption of 12.92 million per individual and for a married couple of 25.84 billion. Do y'all want to know how it works? Or should I just give you this link and you can go read it for yourself? If it come up, let me see. It may not come up. It is Business Insider. All right, dynasty trusts refer to longevity of the trust rather than a specific um type of trust, but here's how they generally work. Historically, trusts could only last 21 years after the death of a beneficiary who was alive when the trust was created. But in the 4 decades, more than half of the United States have either repealed this common law or significantly extended trust limits, allowing dynasty trusts to last as long as 1,000 years in states like Florida and Wyoming. Back to the two retirement states. All right. In Delaware, trusts can last indefinitely. Number one place where single women are buying homes. Through certain restrictions include a time limit on real estate held in trust. All right. I gave y'all that link. Let me know. I'm gonna save this one for next week because I wanna pull out who can do those dynasty trusts. So let's mark that for next week. This is what I thought was important. The FTC is poised to ban non-competes. They got to stop doing these non-competes. It don't make sense. It'll be trying to stop people from working on other projects. But the FTC could issue its final rule on non-competes in a matter of months, and experts expect to become final sometime in 2024. Read your job offers and read the fine print and make sure there's no non-compete clauses in there or what have you, especially if you're 1099 or whatnot. You need to make sure that ain't in there. All right. I said I was going to do this around the world. But global security company inks big lease for new space in Reston. Palo Alto Networks, a California cybersecurity company with a market capitalization of 107 billion, has inked new space as one of the Boston properties in the Reston Town Center. The lease was signed January 12th for 58,000 square feet across the street in the recently completed 20-story tower on 1950 Opportunity Way. Right? So we got that done. Let's keep going. Let me close. Is this the one I want to keep? Nah, we talked about that. I hope they do ban non-competes. All right, for those that are in the Georgia area, Amazon bought 430 acres in Covington, Georgia, out past Conyers, 430 acres. What you think they building? Amazon Data Services paid $36 million for the property about 40 miles east of downtown on Interstate 20. Amazon is investing where other developments are clustering. Just west of its site is Cinelease Studios, a large media campus. About 10 miles away it is the planned $5 billion Rivian automotive factory and Meta platform and massive data center campus. I-20 has been called one of the country's most affordable tech corridors and one of the most busiest corridors. When you getting up there by Conyers, Covington, expect some traffic. However, expect to get somewhere where you can make you some money. At least get in the door, right? 430 acres. All right. I'm going to give y'all this because I'm not going to go through it. I'm going to give you this one. California agrees to pay $2 billion settlement over COVID pandemic learning loss for struggling students. So they're going to divvy up this $2 billion. And yeah. And these are videos. I'll wait till next week. AI training bots. We was going over the Asian American. Why Switzerland home to so many billionaires? Right? Again, back to this one. How rich family use trust. The end of year report. You can download this from Levels FYI. Then you got the $2 billion settlement, and then the rest is videos. I'll save those for next week. D, I'm out of time. 218. I spent too long on the foundation, but I think it was worth it. 200K, one skill away from 200K. Invest in yourself. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to read. It's okay to read. It's okay to buy computers to get yourself up, right? I'll be updating my pyramids and so forth today. I need to do that today. Don't forget to go look at Social Security to see how much money you have made. If your goal is to have $10,000 for your retirement can start at 50. And you could be like, look, I only want $10,000 a month. I think you probably should aim about 15. That's just me. I think most people are gonna especially now, y'all are gonna be buying $400,000, $500,000 houses, unless you're in the Ohio's or so forth and so on, where you can get something around 250 or something like that. But just remember, we're trying to get you paid for Get your skills and get you paid for 10 years. I just showed you a contract running for 10 years. That don't mean because that contract running for 10 years, they don't have jobs at 100,000, 200, 300,000. You don't know what they got. I implore you to go look it up. Until then, folks, y'all be safe and good evening.